Today, we're breaking through the walls, literally, with a leader who's making waves in modular and offsite construction. Welcome back, everyone, to Dave Cooper Live. Our guest is none other than Steve Dubin, Business Development Manager at Rmax, a Sika brand. Steve has become a trusted source of knowledge and an asset to factories he works with. He's not just selling insulation, he's solving problems, streamlining operations, and helping modular builders hit speed, efficiency, code compliance, and targets without compromise. From delivering high-performance polyiso that provides air, water, and thermal protection in one board, to sharing industry insights that factories can put to work immediately. If you're in the offsite industry and you want to build smarter, faster, and more sustainably, this is a conversation you're not going to want to miss. But before we get into any or all of that, we got to give a big shout out to our supporting member, Cobalt Creed. They service builders, developers, prefab home builders, and manufacturers, allowing them to achieve the highest levels of comfort, indoor air quality, and low energy costs with their HVAC system installed for their projects and their customers. Their approach is simple. By using their proprietary small duct, high velocity central heating and cooling systems. If you want to learn more, check them out at cobaltcreed.com. Now, a few words from these sponsors as well. CombiLift is the largest global manufacturer of multi-directional forklifts and straddle carriers, a leader in long load handling solutions, offering a free warehouse and site optimization design service. CombiLift helps companies of all sizes and from every industry maximize the capacity, safety, and efficiency of their warehouse and storage facilities. A big thank you to Paul Short and the team at CombiLift for helping us all to build it better. Visit them at combilift.com. Forward Solutions Group is successfully driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Are you looking to start a factory, optimize your existing factory, streamline your production, or take your team to the next level? Whatever your needs are, Forward has a solution for you. Reach out to Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com. All right. Again, thank you to all of our supporting members and all of the supporting members that you're seeing going across the ticker there below. We can't do any or all of this without you out there supporting us. We are unbiased. We are bringing you the information that you need to help build it better. We are working on a better built world, as we like to say. And that's part of today's conversation with Steve Dubin, who I'm going to bring on to the show right now. Steve Dubin, welcome to the Dave Cooper Live Show. Yeah, we're right here, Steve.
Thanks for having me on, Dave. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you joining us today, man. You're making quite a name for yourself in the offsite industry, man. I see you all over LinkedIn and traveling. I'm just surprised we haven't backed into each other by accident at some factory in this country, because you seem to be at as many factories as I am.
I've been at 66 so far since I started this position. 66.
That was last month, right? You started?
I'm not traveling that much, but it was January of last year, but right. Still a pretty short period of time for that many factories.
Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, we're going to hop into all of that. But first, Steve, we want to know everything about you. From the moment you were born to this very moment in time, do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we will have one of your family members on the show, because I know you're in Ohio. You're right up the road, and there are people sleeping behind you. So hopefully I'm not too loud. But you only have a minute and a half to do it. Steve, tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, and then we'll hop into what you're doing today.
No, I got to tell you, Dave, I'm pretty excited to actually have that intro from you. I've seen you do it for a bunch of other people, but let's see. It was 1976, a cold September day. No, I've been in commercial construction in one way or another, sales for the better part of the last 25, almost actually 30 years. And a couple of years ago, I started focusing specifically on residential for this company, Rmax, for the West Coast. And I'm looking for alternative ways to sell our product and kind of have an ancillary market, and modular offsite construction popped up just through some research I was doing online. And it did so well in the very short period of time at the end of that would be 2023, that we decided to turn it into a specific market niche that we focused on here at Rmax. And so that's where my role now, the business development manager for Rmax, came up. And that's the long and short of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's what's interesting, right? Rmax is part of the Sika brands. Is that correct?
That's right.
Which is a major global player, in the industry for construction materials and products.
Since
And
1910.
since 1910. Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's long before my time. But I will say this. I mean, the fact that the biggest players in the industry are looking at the offsite industry, the fact that you had a role in playing the part of bringing the offsite industry into Rmax and Sika and helping educate them, plus educate the people you service, I think is a big, big deal. And that people should really pay attention to when the big players start moving in this direction, there's something happening. And we're going to get into all of that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Rmax? What is Rmax? What do you personally do day in and day out?
All right. Rmax has been part of the Sika umbrella for about 8 years, but Rmax itself has been around since the mid 70s, making polyisocyanurate insulation, or as you called it, polyiso. That's the common term for it, or even ISO. Polyiso is the highest R value per inch of any commonly available rigid insulation. It's our 6.5 per inch on average, and it grows from there. So it's not linear. So you get a lot of R value for a very small bit of footprint of space on the outside of a building, typically the outside of a building. And as you're scrolling through there, you can see there's different applications for it too. One of the newest ones we're focusing on is below grade. Yeah. But what's really cool about it is because it's a thermoset material, it performs very well in fire conditions, and it is very impermeable to moisture. So if used in the correct way, it can also act as an air and water barrier. So now you're talking not just a thermal layer as far as a control layer on your building, you're talking a fire layer, you're talking air, water, and in some aspects, sometimes structural, depending on the item you pick.
So all in one application.
Yep.
Okay. So
pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. So this is what's really cool. So I mean, you already answered the question on why this matters to factories, right?
Well, yeah. Factories had, especially modular, not necessarily HUD, who's subject to a different code, even though sometimes they want to perform and build beyond that code. Modular has to build to the same codes and sets of standards that traditional construction does. So they need to meet those same energy codes, which is typically where my material comes in.
Absolutely. Listen, for everybody out there, modular is just a name. It is just the process in which we build. The practices of building and the codes like Steve's talking about is the same, period. It's just a process in which we put things together. Is a little bit different. Love it. Love it. So tell me about your journey with this since you started, with Rmax and really traveling, meeting with the industry leaders, going to the trade shows, and then posting about everywhere you're at as well. How's the uptake been for you personally and people wanting to use your product?
Actually, it's been really good. It's climbed really, really fast. I think the message has resonated. I think the fact that even if you go from just more of a mundane look at it, I think these factories are excited that people in my type of position, and I don't mean just me at Rmax, but material producers that they need for their end product are paying attention to them specifically. I think a lot of times what I saw, and I still see it a lot, is that manufacturers like me don't really focus on some of the end users. Are kind of an ancillary business,
right?
That they'll find secondary channels or through distribution, but it's a growing market. It's not growing as fast as people that are in it now, like you and I would like it to grow. It's still maintaining that 6% that it's had for a few years, but that won't last. It's growing and it's not going to stop. And I think these guys deserve attention from material manufacturers like us, and they deserve to have people like us see if we can do things a little bit different with how we make products that make more sense for their process efficiencies. Because it's not just meeting the code for them. To a certain degree, that's almost secondary, even though it's required. More what they want is process efficiency. How can we make this faster, more efficient, and cost effective?
Tell me some of the challenges you help modular factories overcome, whether it's logistics, code compliance, and I know code's not the, as you said, the primary thing that you're always working on. It's just part of it, right? How do you guys play a part in that? And you personally, how do you play a part in that?
It's a matter of education, but I think a lot of the education is what I'm getting from the factories because I came from a traditional construction background, even from a sales standpoint. So I'm going into these factories just with that mindset. I had to learn their processes. And like I said earlier, I've been to 66 different factories and I've seen 66 different ways of using my material. When I get up to 67, I will have 67 different ways of using my material. Everyone is a little bit different. So everyone has their own process, their own efficiency, and we need to be more efficient, but we don't all have to be the same doing it. So I had to figure out what can I do with my stuff to help them meet both their processes and meet the code. And really what opened the doors to us to modular in general was I ran across a post online where I saw a picture of a competing type of product leaning against the wall in the background at Fading West's factory. That opened the door to have me talking to the team at Fading West and found a way. And you can actually see, you're scrolling through some pictures that show either Fading West or Stratford on our website there. Found a way that they could take what assembly they were doing and remove at least one layer of what they were doing. And we actually removed 2 layers of their process and so they now use one of our products on their single family builds. And it's helped them push out more buildings and more percentage of I'm wording that wrong. More buildings essentially in the same amount of time.
Well, hey, listen. All right. So one, it's less materials because you have what, three or four products in one. Is that correct?
Yeah. For Fading West, it's actually structural, thermal, air, and water because they're installing it in such a manner that when they tape the seams and treat the edge conditions, they actually no longer need a full house wrap over the top of it. So they can go immediately and put the cladding on it after meeting all those other codes.
I'm going to see if I can just play this in the background here with no sound so people can see it. So listen, people don't really understand the full life cycle, what a product can do for a manufacturer and its processes, right? So it sounds to me that's 3 or 4 less products that a factory has to store, a factory has to order, the time to track it, the management of tracking it, right? And on top of that, it's less time on the production line because it's one product for the installation. I mean, there's a life cycle here of savings. You can't just look at it product for product. You have to kind of look at it from the perspective of, hey, listen, this isn't just solving, your production line speed and helping you be more efficient. It's also helping you with your storage capacity. It's also helping you with your time and installation and labor costs. But more importantly, it's giving you a more sustainable, better protection for the homeowner. But I mean, there's the list goes on, right?
Yeah, and it's stuff that you wouldn't talk about in a traditional construction bid or on a job site. I had one customer in Chicago I was talking to. They had to go to a higher thickness of material because the code was about to change. And so they just immediately thought they were going to have to double the thickness of their foam, which now they were worried about actually having to re-engineer their buildings with smaller footprint inside because the outside was going to have to be more, or they would have to pay more to logistically ship it. They'd have to get police escorts, so I showed them my material that met the R value, and that was actually enough for them to not change their design at all or pay for shipping. I never would have thought that the thickness of my material and how it made the width of the module meet, certain requirements was going to ever be a selling point. But apparently it is.
Listen, I mean, shipping regulations are real, right? I mean, it's as simple as you can't put your exterior GFI box on the sidewall while you're shipping because now it makes you too wide.
Yeah.
Right. This is what happens. So, even with siding, I mean, you get into Connecticut and areas like that where they have, floor FAR, floor area ratios. And I mean, you can't even be like a millimeter over and they're going to ding you. So I think, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you can get the same R value, but not as thick, that's a win-win for manufacturing. And it's lightweight, right?
Very lightweight. I'd say the average weight of a piece of 4x8 in a size that anyone would need would be somewhere between 9 and 12 pounds a sheet.
Between 9 and 12 pounds a sheet.
Depending on the R value you need. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you're helping a lot of factories overcome things. And I would imagine if you go into these factories, you can it's probably part of what you already talked to them about, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's almost immediately what I talk about. And I'm obviously, of course, interested in their story. You mentioned, when I do all these posts online, you'll find that I don't necessarily shill for the particular brand or product line I'm doing. I'm actually shilling for modular as a successful way to solve affordable and attainable housing crisis that we find in. And I love what some of these factory stories are. So that's what I want to talk about there. In the meantime, I'm also helping with their process efficiency and code requirement.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the big elephant in the room, right? Affordability, production ability. And I mean, we're not going to dive into, fitting a square block in a round hole when it comes to offsite and codes, because that's what it really is. So that's a whole nother conversation than today. So, in the industry, because you've been to 66, maybe 67 factories by the end of next week, who knows how that's going to work?
Actually, will be. Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet, and I want to ask you, I think it's kind of funny, right? Have you ever been in a factory and like, oh yeah, that's IP, you can't show that somewhere. And then you go to like 2 more factories a couple months later and you're like, I've seen the same damn thing. It drives me nuts. I get a lot of that. And I know you don't want to throw people under the bus. I'm not asking you to, but there as much as the industry likes to share, some of these factories are starting to tighten down on the knowledge they want to share because they think they have the secret sauce. And then I go, well, if we got the secret sauce, you can grab 95% of the market share overnight. What are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. Like every time I leave my phone on a conference table because I'm not allowed bringing in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely do that. So, hey, listen,
I appreciate that they want to keep that, tight, but no one, as much as the percentages the modular business has of construction in general, in the grand scheme of things, no one's really competing with each other yet. And I'll tell you what, when these factories do start competing hardcore, that's a good thing for everybody. That means we've captured enough opportunities in the modular world that people are fighting each other for it. That's fantastic. Good for everybody in that case.
Absolutely. Are you seeing more factories open up or more factories close down right now?
Let's say it's about even.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if you ask me next week, that might be a different answer. I've heard of a couple that unfortunately aren't going to make it. I heard some news last week, but at the same time, I hear a couple of factories opening up that I'm super excited about. In fact, I'll be visiting one of those, kind of somewhere between Chattanooga and Nashville at the end of September. A brand new big factory that's making some waves. I'm pretty excited to see it. Modmax, it's called.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Well, that's cool. Congratulations to them. Hey, yeah, I'm going to be in Nashville, man, next week. Why don't you just up your ante on when you're going to go?
I'll call Southwest Airlines immediately.
There you go. You tell them. you tell them Dave Cooper Live said, "Hey, I got to be here at this time." Right. What are you seeing? What are you seeing as innovations, trends? Are you seeing any trends in the modular world? Are you seeing sawdust, old school modular factories? Are you seeing innovation, people really trying to step up their game? And then what do you think is the sweet spot?
Boy, that's a tough question, Dave. I do see, the desire to move towards more automation. And that's great. That is a big investment, and unfortunately, a lot of people are afraid to make big investments and actually have a big backlog. And sometimes those things need to happen in tandem with each other. I would say the successful factories I saw doing it the old way, where some people might complain, well, that's just traditional building in a garage. So it's been working for them for 40, 50 years, let them do that thing. But, there's some factories that are, quite automated, and that works for them too. So there's room for everybody in it. I would see there's a lot of the trends that I've seen needing to happen would be more in supply chain efficiency. Kind of where I came in from a very small portion of what supply chain means is giving them more direct access to things that they need instead of relying on 3 different sets of channels to get something that they don't know much about. That's kind of where I'm coming into it,
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's not just process efficiency in the factory. It's efficiency in every form of the factory, from estimation, supply chain, everything. I think that's where the help is needed.
Well, I mean, the traditional distribution channels that site builders use, are don't necessarily work for manufacturing, right? Because a manufacturer is doing high volume. They essentially can be their own distributor and buy direct. In my opinion, that's the best way to be efficient and move as quickly as you want. Now, you may have some comments on that, because I'm sure Sika has distribution channels like everybody else, but
it's our main line of business, and it makes sense for many of our main lines of business. So it absolutely does.
Right. For sure. All right. So, before we wrap up here, Steve, I really want to get back into just quickly the product and the value proposition. And, I've heard a lot of great things. I think I even saw modules using the product now, right? In Pittsburgh here. So I saw something on that, and I see it in other factories that I'm going to. What is the biggest value of your product? If you were to say, if I'm a manufacturer and I say, all right, Steve, why am I going to use your product? That's what I want to know. Like, what are you going to do for me? Why is it going to change my life, my production? And will I put money in my pocket? Because that's what it all comes down to.
Well, we've talked a little bit about it. Energy codes are kind of coming to a crescendo across the country. One of the big issues we always run into is how many different regulatory issues we have to run in, from federal to state to individual towns, and sometimes even within those individual towns. But energy codes, they're all coming to crescendo. Like I said, ICC, IECC, IECC. It's an alphabet soup. Title 24 in California. They're all starting to look a bit similar. And using exterior insulation is getting harder and harder to avoid, which a lot of people have tried to avoid, doing anything extra. So it's going to happen. If it's not happening now in your state, it will at some point. So my goal is to see, well, how can you meet those codes without adversely affecting the way that you're manufacturing, adversely affecting the price of your individual products that you're pushing out? And, how can we maybe meet those codes while eliminating other things that maybe become redundancies at some point? And that's kind of the basic idea. And what can I do with how I manufacture to make it easier on you? One of the things that I talk about a lot with my factories, this seems so simple, and yet it just kind of blows some people's mind, is I can make it to any length you want. Typically, there's a lot of materials that can't be done that way. It's kind of the difference between manufacturing of a product versus the stuff that a manufacturer needs. Everything is 4 foot by 8 foot. Well, doesn't necessarily have to be for me. For one of my customers, I make everything 10'4". That's the height of their mods minus a few inches for the mate lines, which means they only have to treat vertical seams, except at windows and doors, which takes a lot of time out of their process.
All right,
Very simple things like that.
All right, hold the press. All right, so this has been a conversation for a long time. Are you telling me that if I have a factory and I am building, maybe I standardize my mods, or I'm just set to certain widths and heights, that you can build that board, deliver it to me exactly the size that I needed, other than cutting the length of what I needed, right? Based on my modules or my wall panels. And you said with Fading West that it's also a structural panel.
Yeah, some of our items we actually laminate to different materials to allow seismic and structural. Yep.
Sold. I'm sold, Steve. I need some tomorrow.
All right. It's in the mail.
It's in the mail. Hey,
let me make a note.
Love it. I love it. Hey, Steve, is there anything that we left out that you want to make sure everybody knows about you or the products you're selling?
I think we did a pretty good coverage on it. I think maybe if you have any questions further on this, and of course you'll probably say this anyway, feel free to reach out to me. It doesn't even necessarily have to be about Polyiso in general. Reach out to me if you have energy code questions. If I can't answer it, I've got a good group of people that can help with that. I think the biggest takeaway from what I've done is keep the conversation open, and have those, be willing to talk to your manufacturer reps like me and have that conversation.
Yeah.
You might find out something that you could use. I might find out something that would change what I'm talking about that would make more sense to the modular community. It's all about communication and working together. That's it.
You know what? And people buy from people they like, right? You're a very likable individual. You're an honest individual. Some of the biggest names in this manufacturing space invite you all the time. I mean, and there's value there because you bring value to people, and that's why we're even having you on Dave Cooper Live as well. I mean, you're helping people build it better, build it stronger, faster, more sustainable, hell, structural as well in your case, and in some instances. So I think that's a big deal. So, Steve Dubin,
thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. It's about being a consultant, not a business development person, right? I mean, that's the reward for doing a good job of helping people out.
Yeah, I just want to be a resource for anything that
right.
I can be a resource for.
Absolutely.
And even if it doesn't have anything to do with me specifically, if I've got a good contact list now, thanks to the social media aspect that is that Modular so savvy, and let me help direct you to someone that could help. And I've been more than happy to do that too.
That is definitely one of the values of doing what you do, man. You get to know everybody, and that's important in this industry. And the fact that you can introduce people means they trust you, right? Because as soon as you just start sending everybody and anyone somewhere, especially with the level of contacts you have, they'll get tired of you quick. So love it, Steve.
Don't want that.
No, we don't want that at all. Steve, don't go anywhere. I'll come right back to you after the outro. For the rest of you out there, listen, we'd love to have you part of our group, love to have you part of our community. We got big things happening. When I say big, I'm talking about a big stage. That's right. We are going to be at Green Build in Los Angeles, November 4th through the 7th. And we're not just going to be there. We're going to have a stage in the middle of the showroom floor, 20 by 40. Yeah, they made it bigger because that's how much excitement we have coming with us. And not only are we going to be there, we're going to be traveling to Canada and other places. We're going to take this show on the road. But first, we'd like to see you at Green Build. If you guys are interested in coming, if you're interested in being a speaker or just being part of the event, send us a DM. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to see if we could help you out with the show that we're doing with Green Build. And by the way, Green Build is United States Green Building Council, and it's dead center at the LA Convention Center. All right, everybody. That's a wrap. It's Monday. You still got 4.5 days to keep building it better. So you can stop watching me now and get back to it. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.